It was a peaceful morning on the small human colony planet of New Hope. The sun rose slowly, casting a warm golden light over the land. Children laughed and played in the fields, their joyful voices filling the air. Families gathered around breakfast tables, sharing stories and smiles, enjoying the simple pleasures of life. The atmosphere was filled with hope, and everything seemed perfect. As families went about their daily routines, the beauty of the morning was suddenly interrupted. Dark shadows began to loom overhead, casting a pall over the joyful scene. The children stopped playing, looking up in confusion and fear as massive ships of the Galactic Empire descended from the sky. These ships, sleek and ominous, were a stark contrast to the peaceful life the colonists had known. Panic spread like wildfire, and the once serene atmosphere turned into one of chaos and dread. Among the children was a brave young boy named Alex. He was known for his fearless spirit and strong heart. As the Empire's ships landed, Alex felt a surge of courage. He knew his friends were scared, and he couldn't let them face this threat alone. With determination in his eyes, he stood in front of his friends, trying to shield them from the impending danger. "Stay behind me!" he shouted, his voice steady despite the fear creeping into his heart. The guards of the Empire, clad in dark armor and wielding powerful weapons, emerged from their ships. They were a frightening sight, and the children trembled, but Alex stood tall. He believed that if he showed strength, perhaps the guards would back down. Just as Alex appeared to hold his ground, the situation escalated rapidly. Alarms blared throughout the colony, warning of the impending attack. The peaceful morning transformed into a scene of utter chaos. Explosions erupted, sending debris flying and forcing families to flee in every direction. The once calm and joyful sounds of the colony were replaced by the cries of terrified citizens. In the midst of the turmoil, Alex's bravery shone through. He encouraged his friends to run to safety, but he refused to abandon his post. The guards advanced, their intentions clear and ruthless. As they approached, Alex faced them with all the courage he could muster. He shouted for them to leave his friends alone, but his words fell on deaf ears. Then, in a shocking moment that would forever haunt the colony, one of the guards raised his weapon. The air was thick with tension as time seemed to slow. Alex looked around, seeing the fear in the eyes of his friends and the adults who were frozen in shock. He felt a rush of fear, but also a determination to protect those he loved. With a final brave stance, he cried out, "You will not take them!" But before he could finish his plea, the guard pulled the trigger. A blinding flash of light erupted, followed by a deafening silence. Alex fell to the ground, lifeless. The sight of his young body crumpled on the ground sent waves of despair throughout the colony. Families who moments ago were enjoying their day were now overcome with grief. Mothers screamed, and fathers clenched their fists in anger, unable to comprehend the senseless violence that had just taken a child's life. The news of Alex's death spread like wildfire, reaching every corner of the colony. It was not just a loss. It was a profound tragedy that struck at the heart of every citizen. The once vibrant community was shrouded in mourning, and a deep sorrow settled over New Hope. Grief turned into rage as the colonists realized they could not stand by and let this act of cruelty go unanswered. As the news reached Earth, a collective fury ignited among its inhabitants. People everywhere felt the pain of the loss, and it united them in a fierce desire for vengeance. Alex's death became a rallying cry, igniting a passion within humans across the planet. They could no longer remain passive, they had to act. This tragic moment would change everything for humanity. No longer would they accept the Galactic Empire's tyranny and cruelty. In the hearts of every human, the desire for justice burned brightly, and the seeds of a fierce rebellion began to take root. The tragedy of one innocent child had awakened a sleeping giant, and the Galactic Empire would soon feel the consequences of their actions. The fight for justice and vengeance was about to begin. As news of the tragic death of Alex spread across the universe, the response from Earth was immediate and powerful. Television screens all over the planet showed heartbreaking footage of people mourning. Cities were filled with candlelight vigils where thousands gathered, their faces marked with tears and anger. It was a moment of shared grief that united humans, no matter where they lived. From bustling cities to quiet towns, everyone felt the weight of this loss. In the face of such sorrow, the leaders of Earth called for an emergency summit. The world's most powerful nations came together, setting aside their differences. They understood that they needed to respond decisively to the Galactic Empire's brutal actions. In a grand hall filled with tension, leaders from different countries stood side by side, united by a common purpose. They knew that this was a turning point for humanity. During the summit, a sense of urgency filled the room. Each leader took turns speaking, their voices steady but filled with emotion. They expressed their outrage at the Empire's cruelty and their commitment to protect their people. The room was charged with energy as they decided to mobilize Earth's military forces for an unprecedented response. Then, the leaders revealed a hidden strength that had been kept secret until now. Earth possessed a vast fleet of 700,000 dreadnoughts. These mighty warships were not just ordinary ships. They were equipped with advanced cloaking devices that made them nearly invisible to enemy radar. Each dreadnought also had sophisticated artificial intelligence, allowing them to strategize and adapt during battles. Along with automated combat drones that could fight without human pilots, this fleet was a formidable force ready to take on the Galactic Empire. Amid this rising tide of determination stood Bonner, a soldier who had once been celebrated for his bravery. He was skilled, but in the wake of the attack, he felt hesitant about fighting again. Bonner had lost close friends during the Empire's assault, and their absence weighed heavily on his heart. He felt a mix of anger and sorrow that made it hard for him to focus. Could he face the enemy that had taken so much from him? As Bonner grappled with his emotions, he became a symbol of the collective grief and anger of humanity. His internal struggle made him relatable to many who were also facing their own fears. He knew that to honor his friends, he needed to fight back. With determination rising within him, Bonner began to understand that his personal battle was part of a larger fight for justice. The people of Earth were ready to unite, and Bonner would stand with them as they prepared to take on the Galactic Empire. The time for revenge was approaching, and Bonner knew he had to be ready to lead the charge. A new dawn broke as Earth's mighty fleet set out toward the Galactic Empire's home world. The vast armada of 700,000 dreadnoughts moved through the star-studded void of space, a stunning sight that showcased the strength of humanity. Each ship gleamed under the light of distant suns, their massive forms lined up in perfect formation. The engines roared like thunder, filling the void with a powerful sound, while colorful lights flashed along the hulls, signaling readiness for battle. This was a show of force unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. As the dreadnoughts broke through the atmosphere of the Empire's home planet, the tension in the air was palpable. Thousands of soldiers stood at attention on their ships, hearts pounding with a mix of fear and determination. This mission was not just about revenge. It was about protecting their future and standing against tyranny. The human spirit shone bright in the face of overwhelming odds. Just as the fleet approached the Empire's stronghold, an unexpected ambush shattered the moment of hope. Alien ships, camouflaged by the dark of space, suddenly appeared from behind asteroids, launching a surprise attack on the dreadnoughts. The alarm bells rang out, cutting through the atmosphere of unity that had built up during the journey. Lasers streaked through the blackness, lighting up the scene like shooting stars. The dreadnoughts returned fire, creating a dazzling display of colors as missiles flew and explosions erupted. Fast-paced action scenes unfolded in the depths of space, showcasing the advanced technology of both sides. Dogfights erupted as fighter ships swirled around each other, dodging enemy fire while delivering their own. It was a chaotic ballet of strategy and skill, with pilots pushing their ships to the limits. As the battle raged on, the narrative shifted to the intense scenes of orbital bombardments. The dreadnoughts unleashed their payloads, raining down destruction on enemy installations below. Each bombardment sent fiery plumes into the sky, and the ground trembled as alien structures crumbled under the relentless assault. The visuals painted a vivid picture of chaos and power, showing the effectiveness of humanity's advanced technology. Meanwhile, the fight continued on board the dreadnoughts. In the close-quarters combat, soldiers faced off against alien invaders. The clashing of weapons and the shouts of soldiers filled the air, creating an atmosphere of fierce determination. Bonner found himself in the thick of the action, fighting not just for revenge but for the future of his people. As he battled through the chaos, he felt a surge of courage and resolve, knowing that each moment brought them closer to victory. This was more than just a fight. It was a demonstration of humanity's strength and unity. The Galactic Empire would see that Earth was not a place to be underestimated. As the battle intensified, both sides fought fiercely. But the determination of the human spirit shone through, lighting the path toward a hopeful future. As the fierce battle continued in the depths of space, Earth's forces began to show their true strength. The advanced artificial intelligence aboard the Dreadnoughts analyzed the chaos of combat, offering tactical suggestions and real-time strategies that helped the human fleet gain the upper hand. The combination of human ingenuity and cutting-edge technology was proving to be a powerful force against the Galactic Empire. The tides of war were starting to turn in favor of humanity. Amidst this critical moment, Bonner stepped into a new role as a commanding officer. He felt a sense of responsibility weighing on his shoulders. It was no longer just about revenge. He had to lead his comrades into battle and ensure their safety. With a fierce determination in his heart, Bonner devised a daring raid on an enormous Empire mothership. He rallied his team, inspiring them with his words and passion. They prepared to strike at the very heart of the enemy's operations, knowing that this could be their chance to deal a decisive blow. As the raid commenced, adrenaline surged through Bonner's veins. He and his team boarded the mothership, moving swiftly through its dark corridors. The sounds of battle echoed around them, lasers firing, explosions rocking the ship, and alarms blaring. In the heat of the moment, Bonner's focus was sharp, driven by the need to achieve victory for his fallen friends and their families back on Earth. However, the battle took a heartbreaking turn. In the midst of the chaos, Bonner lost a close comrade, a fellow soldier who had fought bravely at his side. The loss hit Bonner hard, and for a moment, everything slowed down. Memories of their friendship flooded his mind, moments of laughter, shared fears, and the unwavering support they had given each other. This deepened the emotional stakes of the battle, making Bonner more determined than ever to honor his fallen friend by fighting with everything he had. Despite the overwhelming odds, the humans began to turn the tide of battle. The Galactic Empire had underestimated their determination and resilience. The once seemingly outmatched forces of humanity now showcased their strength and resourcefulness. They fought with a fierce passion that came from their shared grief and anger. Each small victory against the Empire boosted morale and encouraged others to push forward. As Bonner led his team deeper into the mothership, they began to sabotage key systems and disrupt the enemy's operations. The cries of their comrades filled the air, fueling their drive. With every setback for the Empire, humanity's spirits soared. This was not just a fight for survival, it was a fight for justice, honor, and the future. Bonner felt the power of hope rising within him as he continued to lead the charge, proving that humanity could triumph against even the strongest foes when they fought together. The tide was turning, and the Galactic Empire was about to learn the true strength of the human spirit. The stage was set for the final battle at the Galactic Empire's stronghold. The massive structures of the Empire loomed in the distance, a stark reminder of the oppression they had inflicted upon countless worlds. As Bonner and his team approached, the air was thick with tension. This was it, the moment they had all been fighting for. Bonner felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders, knowing that this confrontation was not just about them, but about all those who had suffered at the hands of the Empire. He steeled himself for the fight ahead, ready to face the embodiment of evil. The Empire's leader, a ruthless figure known for his merciless tactics, awaited them. This man had caused so much pain and suffering, and Bonner was determined to put an end to his tyranny. As their eyes met, a chilling silence fell over the battlefield, making the stakes clear. This was a classic battle between good and evil, where the fate of humanity hung in the balance. With a rallying cry, Bonner urged his team forward, igniting their spirits for the confrontation that would define their struggle. The fight began with a ferocious intensity. Explosions erupted around them, filling the space with brilliant colors and blinding light. Energy shields flickered and failed, and the haunting silence of space was shattered by the sounds of lasers firing and metal clashing. Bonner led his team through the chaos, dodging blasts and retaliating with their weapons. Each moment was a blend of fear and exhilaration as they fought against seemingly insurmountable odds. Amidst the chaos, Bonner found himself face to face with the Empire's leader. The confrontation was fierce, with both men embodying their respective ideals. Bonner fought with the strength of those he had lost, his fallen comrades cheering him on in spirit. The leader, on the other hand, fought with cold calculation, a cruel smile playing on his lips as he underestimated the humans. In a climactic moment, Bonner summoned every ounce of courage he had. With a powerful strike, he landed a crushing blow against the Empire's leader, sending him reeling. This moment symbolized not just the defeat of one man, but the triumph of humanity over oppression. As the leader fell, the Empire's forces began to falter, their morale shattered by the defeat of their ruthless commander. With the Empire's grip finally broken, the surviving humans stood victorious. They looked around at the wreckage of the battle, feeling a mix of triumph and sorrow. They had fought hard, but the cost was steep. They took a moment to honor their fallen friends, especially Alex, the young boy whose tragic death had sparked this entire conflict. Bonner vowed that their sacrifice would never be forgotten. In the end, this climactic confrontation was not just a battle won, it was a message to the galaxy that humanity would not be oppressed. They had proven that even in the darkest times, the light of hope could shine through. United in their victory, the humans looked to the future, ready to rebuild and create a world where their spirit could thrive without fear.